when someone asks what's the ROI of this campaign, give an answer that they can trust. And it just helps empower the decision making process. It helps you understand that, okay, what we're doing is compliant, it's legal. This is not going to cause issues for either myself or my company in the future, just the way we're collecting data via our digital properties. What we tried to do, and what I think we've done successfully as a brand, is lean into not necessarily the actual technical services that we provide as a company, and more so into that feeling of confidence and peace of mind.
Hello and welcome to Best Story Wins. I'm your host, Josh, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jason. And today our guest is Chase Howell of InfoTrust. Hey, Chase, thanks for joining us today.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Good to see you, Chase.
Yeah, so Chase, for our listeners, can you give a brief overview of what InfoTrust is and what you all do? And can you also give us an overview of what you focus on in your role?
Yeah, InfoTrust is an analytics and data privacy consulting and technology company. We work with major brands across the globe, basically helping them understand and activate on their own marketing data, and also make sure that they're doing so in a compliant fashion. So, for my role, I'm the VP of Marketing and Communications at InfoTrust. I've been there for about 6 years. It's been an awesome ride. The company was much smaller when I joined, about 40 people, and now we're closing in on around 200. And yeah, it's been so fun. The global imprint, or footprint, I should say, of InfoTrust has expanded exponentially. We have offices now at our home base in Cincinnati, also Chicago, Barcelona, London, Dubai. Quite a few folks spread around Canada as well. So it's been very cool to see the company grow and the impact grow. And yeah, it's been fun.
That's awesome. So, can you tell us a bit of your backstory and what led you to this role?
Yeah, great question. So I certainly throughout my career have taken an interesting path to marketing. So I actually started in journalism out of college. I went to a small school in Indianapolis with big dreams of writing for Sports Illustrated and ESPN and that sort of thing. And shortly after college, I realized I should probably get like a job that actually has a bit of dependability and maybe some normal hours. So pretty soon, I actually found my way into marketing. I worked at an agency in Cincinnati. It was called GNGF. But I found very quickly that the journalism skills that I had learned in school applied very well to content marketing in particular. So GNGF was an agency in Cincinnati, like I said, but we worked with law firm clients across the country. So in terms of just kind of honing your skills, both kind of local marketing, but also just articulating the value of both content and just all around digital marketing services. GNDF was a great place to start. Was there for a few years, and then have had a few different marketing roles since then, both kind of on the brand side, agency side, both B2C and B2B. And I've dipped my toe back into the journalism pool from time to time as well with some freelance work for different media outlets. But yeah, ultimately found my way to InfoTrust as a marketing manager at the time. Started as a marketing team of two, and we've continued to grow that throughout the years. And just gave a brief overview of kind of the company growth of InfoTrust. But yeah, that's the path. But I have enjoyed it very much. I found wonderful kind of home and niche here in the B2B space, and yeah, it's been a good ride.
So, you've been through quite an evolution there, 6 years and growing, I think, from 40 people to almost 200 while you've been there. And what's been surprising to you about scaling that marketing function alongside like growing the company?
Yeah, I don't know if surprising is the right word, but definitely how we have grown from, I would say, a team of generalists to a team of specialists as we've scaled. So naturally, in the beginning, when it was myself and one other person, we were the marketer that wore every single hat. We did everything. As the team has scaled, the company has scaled, and we've improved our own skill set and abilities as marketers. Each team member has a much more specialized role at this point. So we have someone who's really good at content marketing. We have two graphic designers who are really good. It makes me laugh looking back at the days when I was working in Canva compared to what our graphic designers actually put out now. We have someone who's focused on events and PR, and someone who is focused purely on the marketing automation platform we use and making sure that our email marketing strategy, our drip campaigns, everything is flowing smoothly. So it's definitely great to look back at where we were and kind of the fundamental steps it took to get where we are today. But yeah, in terms of scaling, I would just say moving from kind of that the jack of all trades type approach to just having a lot of people who are very, very good at what they do, working together as a team.
So, I mean, with that kind of growth, you have to all be doing some things right. And, I'd love to understand, you know, whether there was a defining moment in terms of how you relate to brand building at InfoTrust. Like, was there a moment or a decision that kind of resulted in this clarity and you said like, hey, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'll even actually go back to before I worked at InfoTrust. I identified that the company was solving a problem that myself as a marketer faced every single day. So what InfoTrust really does via its analytics services and technology and also the data privacy services and technology, they give marketers confidence, confidence that they can trust their data, confidence that they can actually, when someone asks what's the ROI of this campaign, give an answer that they can trust. And it just helps empower the decision making process. It helps you understand that, okay, what we're doing is compliant, it's legal. This is not going to cause issues for either myself or my company in the future, just the way we're collecting data via our digital properties. So what we tried to do and what I think we've done successfully as a brand is lean into not necessarily the feel or the actual technical services that we provide as a company, and more so into that feeling of confidence and peace of mind. So every marketer wants to be able to answer those questions. Every marketer wants to be able to make confident decisions that the dollars that they are spending. Sometimes we're talking massive dollars when we're talking about these enterprise companies. They're actually having an impact, or if they're not, they're able to make a decision very quickly to pull the plug and reallocate those funds elsewhere. So to me, that has been a very, I don't want to say easy sell, but it's been something that's been very comfortable for me to lean into. Again, a marketer marketing to other marketers. Um, and yeah, I think that's helped us really solidify our brand and also bring a very understandable offering to the marketplace. And at the end of the day, everyone just is looking for that peace of mind. And I think that's what we bring.
A lot of B2B marketers struggle with showing ROI, especially, you know, connecting brand plays through to revenue is a big topic, right? But what are some of the unconventional measures of success you've found valuable in really showing the impact and quantifying that impact from your brand storytelling efforts?
Yeah, that's another great question. I would say that before you begin any project or endeavor, you have to essentially make sure that you have alignment with the leadership of the company, and also whatever you're doing is in alignment with the objectives of the organization at that time. And outlining, okay, we're going to kick off this campaign, or we're going to introduce this new piece of content. We're going to release this case study. We're going to host this event, and these are the results that we expect. And in many cases, especially in the B2B space, those results might not be a number of new opportunities coming exactly the next day out of that event. Oftentimes, this is a touch point and it's a brand building exercise. So when the buying decision comes for that B2B prospect, you or your brand is top of mind. So I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, we published our second book. It's called Becoming a Privacy Centric Marketing Organization. This was a major investment from a time perspective, from a subject matter expert perspective. Obviously, we're taking time away from our consultants and our engineers to contribute to this book to make sure it is as good as possible. Um, but we believed that it would help us stand out greatly in the marketplace versus our competitors who, you know, some other companies were offering analytics services, of course, but are they really keeping your company's kind of privacy centricity in mind, and making sure that you're compliant in everything that you do. So, we into this. It was a major investment, like I said. And in terms of what we deemed success, it actually wasn't like book sales. That's a nice vanity metric to have, but really what we were after was a couple of things. So, one, we believed that the book would lead to speaking opportunities. So, that was one of our major measures of success. No longer were we going to be pitching ourselves to conferences, events as a vendor. We were going to be pitching ourselves as authors of this book, as thought leaders. So we had seen and continue to see, even a few years later, just a major shift in the conversations that we're having at events. And it just brings a whole nother level of trust when you get on stage, where, quite frankly, even when you get in front of a prospect, if you can say, look, we wrote the best selling book on this topic, it's just an excellent piece of social credibility. So speaking engagements was a major measure of success for us. I'll also say too, throughout the book, we put like QR codes and just opportunities for someone to leave the book and kind of jump into a digital experience with InfoTrust. So while the book itself was really not salesy, it was very like, here are the things that your organization should be thinking about. Here are processes that you can put in place today. Here's what a team structure should look like. It was very prescriptive and honest in nature. But if someone wanted to, there was ample opportunities throughout the book, again, for them to kind of jump off the pages, whether just like scanning a QR code or something and coming to our digital environment, where then they could learn more about the services and technologies that InfoTrust provides to support kind of what they're reading about. So that was another somewhat unique measure from selling a book. And those are a few that I think kind of stand out to me. And yeah, obviously a project that I'm quite proud of at InfoTrust. It's our second book that we published, and both received Amazon best-selling status within 24 hours in publication.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool to hear that you have seen that kind of credibility, and it's interesting, the power that a book still has, right? In the marketing, a digital marketing company, right?
100%. Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
with that in mind too, with the increased use of AI in marketing, there's always this tension, right, between efficiency and showing up authentically. How do you navigate that balance at InfoTrust, like embracing the advances in tech, but still maintaining a human connection that really makes stories resonate with people?
Yeah, I think it's something that, we are still figuring out every single day at InfoTrust, as I'm sure many other marketers are at other organizations. ChatGPT, if we really think about it, I mean, it was first publicly released in November of 2022. So we're talking 28 months ago. If anyone at this point, over the course of 28 months, is saying they have this figured out, kudos to them. I know my team is still navigating this. Gemini was released in 2023. So again, like, all of these new technologies that, I don't want to say anyone is taking them for granted today, but they are just now a normal part of our lives. These are so new. So your question about the tension between efficiency and authenticity. So I will say we were very quick to experiment with and adopt some of these tools. I think marketing and content creation in particular was one of the first kind of spaces that we saw a lot of practical applications for AI in the workplace, just helping us to operate quicker. Uh, I think obviously AI is getting better in terms of image creation and sounding more natural in its writing tone. But there still was a very large period, and to some degree it still is today, where there's kind of that uncanniness of AI or purely AI created content and marketing assets. So we never want to put something out into the marketplace that someone can identify, like, clearly that was made with AI. It's an interesting balance. So we use AI quite a bit for copy editing, for sure, a lot for idea generation, for sure. A lot of our graphic design, I say we don't want to put anything out that it's blatantly obvious it was created with AI, but I know our designers love Adobe Firefly and using that for kind of a starting point. So we have integrated AI in many ways to into our processes that make us more efficient. But yes, we're highly aware of trying to put out or not put out anything that seems like it was, for lack of a better term, slapped together with AI and pushed out just because we could. So I don't know that I'm fully answering your question. My answer is we're figuring it out, and I think everyone is figuring it out still. But yeah, we have a goal to maintain authenticity. We've built a lot of brand trust in our space, and we want to maintain that for sure.
I really appreciate that perspective, especially how you framed your answer initially, because I think where I thought you were going with that was, "Hey, this was released 22 months ago or 28 months ago, and if you haven't figured it out
Yeah,
yet, you're blowing it." Um,
yeah, yeah,
but I
yeah,
think that your perspective there is a healthy one. And I think that what I would just add to that is if you haven't dug in and you haven't tried to figure it out, maybe
yeah.
then you're blowing it because it's just yeah, it's not going away, you know? And I think that the smart people, or maybe a better way of framing this is the people that are going to be successful in the future are going to figure out a way to make it work for them. And, um, they're just gonna be realistic about that. It was really cool hearing you talk about your book, efforts. That makes me wanna write another book. We wrote a book like 12 years ago, and it did really well for us, and for whatever reason, I think we just kinda got focused on other things, but I'm wondering if there's a campaign or an experiment you ran that wasn't as successful, that you'd maybe be willing to highlight, and if so, like, what did you learn from that? And how could you help, us and our listeners maybe have a takeaway from that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say that we do a lot of, you know, free reports and, get your free compliance risk report, get your free Google Analytics scan report, get your free, we have a proprietary tag auditing platform called Tag Inspector. Get your free tag auditing report. Sometimes those are great, but oftentimes what I've seen, especially when promoting these free reports, which, as someone inside the organization who understands the value of what we're kind of giving away for free, you put it on LinkedIn, you create a nice landing page for it. It's like, why would anybody pass this up? You put ad dollars behind it, and there certainly have been instances where we have put a lot of time and energy into creating these free reports that, again, like, we're giving away a lot of very valuable information, and someone can glean a lot of insights from these reports and take them to their team, not necessarily even take action with InfoTrust, but hopefully they have InfoTrust top of mind through that. And we'll put ad dollars behind it, and it just kind of goes nowhere. And we're scratching our head and trying to figure out why. Oftentimes it's the framing. Oftentimes sometimes, people just don't know what they don't know. So like a compliance risk report, maybe they weren't even thinking that they were out of compliance. So they didn't even think to fill out that risk report. So that's something that, again, we tend to chase it a lot because these free reports seem like, again, from inside the organization, no brainer. Why would you not sign up to do this for free? But when you're asking people to give you their information, and they don't see kind of what that clear value exchange is, I think that's often where it falls short. So yeah, I'm hesitant to point to one example, but I would say there's definitely a theme there. And I think it's very common in the B2B space, these free reports that we see. But that's something that I know we've seen great success at times, but other times where we thought we had a home run, we just got very, very little traction.
Mhm. Yeah, I think everyone can relate to that. Um, as a marketing leader, you know, oftentimes we don't get our hands dirty with actual project level work. Do you have those opportunities at times? And if so, what are your favorite things to work on?
Yeah, I definitely create those opportunities, I think, for myself more often than maybe I should. But yeah, I One thing that I really enjoy doing um, still is working with live events. I love the planning process. I love putting together an agenda, crafting the narrative that I think is going to resonate with not only our current customers but also our potential buying audience and our partners. I love, even kind of the external things that are happening around the event, the dinners, the client meetings. So making live events awesome and successful. Um, yeah, that's where I still kind of get my hands a bit dirtier than I probably should at times. But I think, we talked about maintaining authenticity in an AI world. I think live events are still one of the few places where there is great human connection, great networking, great ideas shared more openly than they would be behind a screen. So yeah, I love working on that type of content. It's a very labor intensive form of content, but yeah, if I could spend my time doing one thing or doing more of one thing, it would definitely be live events.
Yeah. Does it seem like live events are really coming back for you all in a significant way? That's what we're hearing from a lot of people.
Yeah, 100%. We saw some of our live events wane a little bit, really pre-COVID. And then obviously we went digital for a few years just in terms of doing webinars and digital summits. And then once we started bringing live events back, we definitely noticed a hunger and a desire to get in person again for people. So we have even gone as far as for some of our bigger keystone events, not even offering a digital option. Like you have to be there because you're only going to experience it the right way in person. So yeah, we've seen phenomenal numbers, especially for the last 2 years at some of our events. Um, yeah, people are hungry for connection, especially I think with everyone, not everyone, obviously, a large chunk of folks continuing to work from home or being in a hybrid environment. Like there's just a need and the desire to get out with like-minded people who are facing some of the same challenges that you are facing at work every day, and being in a space where there's an opportunity beyond just the meeting or beyond just the content itself to connect over kind of the snack area or to connect in between sessions or to go talk with the speaker and say, hey, I really liked this, can we get coffee and talk about this more? So yeah, we have found that they've been super successful and are continuing to push live events as a big part of our B2B branding strategy.
That's really interesting. Are you seeing, in these kind of evolutions, right, with between the books and events and just as overall, you know, tactics and approaches in B2B marketing have been, definitely impacted and changed over the last year. Are you seeing some evidence that the story is, either evolving in a way that's resonating with people, or that there's some sort of baseline, almost like first principle truth that just still resonates with your audience?
Yeah, I think that human connection obviously is always going to resonate more so than anything else. Even not pre AI, the pre ChatGPT, we'll say, uh, when we would market our auditing and monitoring like software, it's still with faces on the website. It's still authentic photos of the folks that work at InfoTrust, and people connect with people, people buy from people. So the more we try to digitize kind of our offerings, I think it's very important to continue to tell the story from the human side, not just look at the technology. This goes all the way back to what we talked about at the beginning about what is the feeling that someone is getting when they are buying a product or a service from InfoTrust. They're feeling that confidence. So yes, there are technical specs and features and benefits that will go through during the sales process, but what is really going to get them in the door is what do they feel? What is the confidence that they feel as a marketer when working for InfoTrust?
Yeah, just kind of riffing on that idea, of people wanting to buy from people. Um, we always talk about it in terms of, that idea that, like, people like buying from people that they like. And I think that, that's something we've been talking about for years and was a big, like, reason behind why we spent so much time with our clients. Like, we'd go travel and visit with people and spend time with them, um, and actually build relationships, because in our industry, that's just at a premium, right? When so many people, as you've touched on, they're focused on marketing that highlights product specs and all this and that. One of the things that I've noticed is that, like, that line of thinking has really ramped up, and a lot more people have, like, bought into it, maybe because of COVID, or COVID had something to do with it, and it's resulted in, like, the explosion of, like, personal brand and founder-led brand content. Like, how does that, play a role in your brand building efforts at InfoTrust?
Yeah, that's a very good insight and something that is definitely noticeable if you spend more than 5 minutes a day on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The personal brand, or as you said, the founder led branding work is at an all time high for sure. I think what I've seen too, and this goes back to our conversation about AI. I think it's just given so many more folks, so many more founders, leaders, who don't often have a lot of time in their day and didn't have time in their day prior to AI to create a lot of content. Like, it's giving them a very valuable tool in their tool belt to be able to produce really quality thought leadership type content, to post on their social channels, to post on, if they do like a newsletter or anything like that. So yeah, I think AI has massively changed personal branding for sure. In terms of InfoTrust specifically, something that we have leaned into as a company for, uh, well before even I was there, is the kind of doing the right thing, the philanthropic side of the business. So we have a mantra, might be the wrong word, but a saying at InfoTrust that our success is someone else's miracle. So everything that we do, we actually have a foundation called the InfoTrust Foundation. A portion of all of our revenue goes to the foundation. So all of our team members, when they join the company, um, they understand that the work that they're doing, yes, we're doing analytics and data privacy, consulting and services, and building technologies to support those efforts. But at the end of the day, we're making an impact in the communities in which our team members live and work via the foundation, and also a global impact. So, in terms to answer your question of like the personal brand building, our CEO is extremely generous and definitely the face of the InfoTrust Foundation. That was kind of his idea, and I would say more than anything else, that's what he's most passionate about, is just making a difference in the world through that. So he spends a lot of time, and the marketing team supports him on this, in promoting the work that the InfoTrust Foundation does. Also, just promoting, again, if we're talking about personal branding, himself as an entrepreneur and a co-founder of a company, trying to be an example of how, you know, medium-sized businesses can kind of be leaders in the community, in terms of adding value and not just being in existence to turn a profit, but hopefully to make wherever you're operating just a little bit better.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I love that. It's cool to hear how authentic your perspective is there. When you look ahead to the next 2 to 3 years, what storytelling approach or even marketing channel do you think a lot of B2B brands right now are underestimating that will become essential in the future?
Yeah, I we'll call it actually like a tool. But I would say, we talked about authenticity a lot already with AI. I think something that folks are already starting to underestimate, and maybe will continue to, is just the authenticity of imagery and storytelling. So again, we see, spend 5 minutes on LinkedIn, you'll see 20 examples of this, of people creating images on whether ChatGPT or Gemini, Source, whatever. And I think we're starting to lose like what's real and what's not real. So I think something that may get underestimated in the next few years is just putting out um, imagery within content that is real. Folks actually working at your office, uh, like the team members that are going to be serving your clients' potential accounts. Um, if you're filming a video, actually having someone from your team kind of walk through the benefits of or tell the story of how an ICP can be helped with your service or offering. So I think again we're in this odd race right now to do everything with AI. But I think we're losing a lot of that, especially in image creation, which is, a picture is worth a thousand words. I think in image creation, just making sure that what you're putting out there, it's very clear, like these are real people that are helping you be more successful in your business. I think that's going to be a big thing.
Yeah, what about in terms of brand building? Do you care to make any predictions about how that's gonna shift in the coming years? For instance, do you think that, you know, philanthropy and philanthropic efforts are gonna continue to be, um, uh, something that you all can lean into further, or is it gonna be more, events, or is it something else? Like, are you starting to see kinda something around the bend?
Yeah, you actually touched on the two things that I would say. So, one, if all things else are equal in terms of the value or the service that organizations are offering, um, oftentimes someone is going to pick the option that makes them feel good. So let's look at a B2C example with Bombas. And socks at the end of the day are socks. I love Bombas. I think they're great, but there's lots of other brands out there I could choose. All things being equal, I'm gonna buy Bombas because for every pair I purchase, they're donating a pair. So it's a very um, yeah, going back to the people connecting with people, if there is, I can take an action through my purchase, whether it's B2C or B2B, that can benefit. Um, Humanity is a big word, but it can be a benefit to the world. That's the option I'm going to go with. So I do think more and more companies are going to lean into that. Um, I also think, yeah, I think live events are going to be or continue to be bigger and bigger, especially as AI becomes a larger part of our lives. Um, Even simple things now where you go to a website and oftentimes you're chatting with an AI agent versus having an actual email or chat interaction with a person. The hunger for, B2B professionals, especially to be in a space with like-minded individuals who face the same challenges that they have every day, that's going to only grow, I think, over time. So if you can put on a great live event where your customers or your potential customers are going to return to that event year after year, I think that's going to be incredibly important and just a game changer for more B2B brands.
So with your note about your own, authentic story and the reputation you've built, uh, a lot of that has come from your Google Analytics expertise, right? Which has a ton of value for people, especially because it's gotten a lot more complex to set it up, and also people are running more sophisticated campaigns, right? And of course, they continue to evolve and push that forward. So when you think about building that InfoTrust brand identity, how do you think about balancing kind of the independent brand identity of InfoTrust while also leveraging the strength, obviously, of a really long lasting Google partnership and, of course, their credibility in that space?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal question and one of the, I don't want to say existential questions that we at InfoTrust ask ourselves all the time. How do we continue to provide best in class service around a platform like Google Analytics that we do not own? We're very fortunate to be Google Marketing Platform sales partners for the past 12 years, which is the highest tier you can achieve in the GMP kind of marketplace for enterprise partners. So we've continued to demonstrate best in class support and expertise to the clients that we service around GA360. Uh, in terms of kind of how do we make sure that people recognize InfoTrust as a distinct brand outside of just GA, I think that's really where we've leaned into the data privacy side. So that's again, we have our own tag auditing and monitoring platform. It's called Tag Inspector, and we have data governance services, and really we provide a perspective on privacy that I think is unparalleled in the market, and ensuring that our customers, yes, we can get GA set up. Yes, we can help you get the insights and everything that you need. But with the increasing number of uh, governmental regulations coming into place, the CCPA in California, obviously GDPR has been long in existence from Europe, and there's many other state level legislations that are either going live today or are currently being discussed in the various state level governments. Um, there's just kind of this patchwork of privacy that is very complicated to understand right now that couples extremely well with the analytics services that we provide. So, ensuring that everything that you are doing from a marketing data collection standpoint is compliant, and you, more than anything, you're respecting kind of the consent choices of your users. That's the like differentiator that I think helps InfoTrust stand out as a Google Analytics consultant and technology provider.
That's so cool. Wow, that I hadn't even thought about just the integration of the local or state laws on that. That must be wild um, to actually implement. So I'm curious as you think about telling that story or just even looking at I don't know conventional marketing wisdom that you think will just be totally upended in the coming years. Uh, how do you think forward-thinking brands should prepare?
Yeah, that's a massive question. I think, well, we talked about AI is so new that we're still figuring it out. I think also just kind of where your audience is going to continue to change. Already, we are seeing the implementation of AI basically rock the SEO world. Search was so dominant and making sure that your brand was ranking well on a Google search engine results page was, I mean, that could make or break your business. Now, with the massive increase of zero-click searches, we're already seeing the importance of organic placement drastically change, and just the organic traffic that's coming to any particular website drop significantly over the past 8+ months. And so I think, again, where your audience is going to change. We don't know where they're going to be in the next few years, but let's say today we're seeing more and more searches, or we're seeing more and more source, how do I want to say this? Um, the referral source for more and more of our kind of leads that come into InfoTrust today are from ChatGPT, or they're from Perplexity, something that we hadn't even thought of as like a possibility, 8+ months ago. So I think just keeping an open mind as to exploring new mediums and kind of marketplaces and social hangouts, or whatever the new forum for your audience will be 1 year from now, 2 years from now. Just being open to that, not being stuck in a rut where, B2B is the place for, or LinkedIn is the place for B2B. That's where we're going to continue to be forever. Like, just being open to those new forums and those new possibilities.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Chase, I know we're almost at time. But before we go, is there anything that you're working on right now that you're really excited about that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, we've talked about live events. Going to be in London later this month. We are doing an event at Google's Central St. Giles office. It's called AdTech Unlocked. It's the third year that we've been there. The registration list has grown every single year. Last year, we actually were at capacity, sold out. So super excited to return later this month. That's on April 24th. So yeah, pumped about that. Definitely check it out. Just search AdTech Unlocked InfoTrust and you'll find the details.
Awesome. Chase, this has been great for people that want to learn more about you and potentially connect with you online. Where's the best place for them to do so?
Yeah, you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. Of course, you can also just reach out directly to InfoTrust and it'll find its way to me. Just email marketing@infotrust.com and yeah, it'll get to me.
Awesome. Thanks, Chase.
Thanks, Chase.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.